I'm Tony Sklar with bnetTV. Welcome to the wrap-up session here at the CTIA Enterprise and Applications Conference in San Diego. I have the pleasure of being joined by Mr. Mike Wehrs, Mr. Rob Mesirow, and Mr. Bob Bilbruck. Gentlemen, how is everybody doing?
Super.
Great day. Super fantastic. Listen, it has been a fantastic first day. I'm going to start right to you, Rob. Congratulations on having a fantastic conference. Always a great time at CTIA. For our first-time viewers, can you give us a brief overview of what has transpired here during this conference so far on the first day?
Sure. Well, this is CTIA Wireless Enterprise and Applications, so we're really focused in on applications and enterprise. So for us, it's really an important show because it really shows the demarcation point for enterprise wireless really coming into the enterprise. And I think the day one keynotes truly summed it up. Those guys went up there and we had the big CEOs from the big three carriers talking about wireless deployments finally happening inside the enterprise. So I feel like we've really hit a tipping point for this show.
I figured I heard that I didn't get to see it, but the keynote was standing room only this morning, and I know that throughout what I've seen so far and the people I've spoken to so far today, we've talked from everything from mHealth through to automotive. I had some great conversations with the likes of Hip Cricket. We were talking a lot about the mobile marketing and how that particular portion of the ecosystem has stretched through to so many different portions. Mike, I know that because you're with Scanbuy, why don't we dive right into some of the stuff that you've seen here?
Yeah, sure. Mobile payments, everything about m-commerce is big. So I've seen a lot of people coming and talking to us about innovative ways of handling mobile payments, not just through carrier billing, but through mobile wallet kinds of initiatives, other interesting ways to try and get commerce fulfilled. Enterprise, there's been a tremendous amount of people who've been talking about integration with enterprise systems. Previously, that's been one of those things that's professional services and no one really talked about it. Now it seems to be something that everybody who I'm doing interviews with is asking questions. Can we do integration with CRM? Can we do integration with MRM? Can we make it look like their ERP systems? So it seems to be something that's very much in the forefront of people's minds.
It's nice on the, because, you know, traditionally, Rob, this has been more of an entertainment type of conference here in the fall for CTIA, but clearly you can see the transformation into the enterprise side because of supporting mechanisms need to be there. And I know, especially again for this fall session, we've seen a lot of mHealth really jump in the Bob, I know that you're entrenched really highly in that mHealth arena. Why don't you jump in here and talk about what you've seen?
Yeah, I think for the last 5 years, people have been talking about mHealth or wireless health becoming, you know, this is the year of mHealth or wireless health, you know. So finally, I think this is the year, this year, you know. I think the channels are starting to be developed, the interest levels are there for wireless health and mHealth applications. There's a ton of applications and solutions out there around mHealth and wireless health now, with Qualcomm really leading the way with some of that stuff. And I think we're really going to see a real strong market in 2012 for mHealth and wireless health, and definite generation of revenues there finally, you know, that are real dollars being made in those spaces.
A lot of impacts have been made in this industry over the. You guys are all veterans within this industry. You know, I think I am calling you old. And happy birthday, by the way, to you this past Friday. And yes, you are old, but old enough that my point is that when we look at the economic impacts overall of what we've all seen over let's take the last 10 years in this conference specifically. Finally, the idea of the year of mobile out the window. Fine, we've surpassed that. We're now even going beyond how do we make money. There just seems to be so much economics that are derived from this industry. Is this what's leading us out of this recession globally?
Well, I think there's real necessity, right? That's driving the wireless deployments now because, you know, let's face it, wireless healthcare in this country really needs some help. We need to figure out how do we provide better health care for less money, because, you know, Mike's not the only one getting old. So we've got to kind of get to that point, and just if we can get the people in this country to take the pills in their medicine cabinet that they're supposed to take and go to the doctor when they have appointments, we would save hundreds of millions of dollars and get rid of a lot of stress on our very stressed healthcare system. Likewise, you think about energy, which is another big vertical that we're focused on. Smart grid is just smart technology. The American consumers don't naturally like to conserve. But if we can automate these systems, we can draw energy using wireless technologies and really put some intelligence into our grid, then we're going to be able to pull that energy at the lowest cost basis and really improve energy flow, and people's bills will go down.
Rob, I actually had a great conversation with an entrepreneur in the country outside of the U.S., but we're doing a deployment with them around this energy efficiency component of it, where on the meters, they're putting a barcode so that around the different appliances in the house, you can go and just use your phone, and it'll tell you if you change your thermostat down a degree, it'll say, that'll have this impact on your bill. So it's real-time impact to try and get a kind of that visceral reaction that people have to try and economize.
That's a very good example, because if we can make it as simple as, it's the Prius principle. So if I can see my energy consumption and I know I can control it by taking my foot off the gas pedal or pushing down on a brake, I can adjust my thermostat. It's all about intelligence, and more intelligence to the user is going to just bring more efficiencies into all the networks.
And mobile just is one of those things that you don't have to worry about going to your PC and typing it in. Right? You can be right there at that point, and you can scan it, and you can get the information you need in order to make that kind of decision. I think it's just a great
an easy user experience. I think that's like what's driving wireless health too, or mHealth, is making the applications easier to use, not making them complicated for the user, and adapting those applications to the user experience. As soon as we get to that level where they're that simple, where they pair properly and quickly, and not a lot of thought or activity has to go into the user side level, then I think you'll see a lot more adaptation of those application solutions from the consumer side in wireless health and health also. So I think that's across the gamut of mobile these days.
So we've identified that we're clearly making economics better through technology. We as the industry leaders, not me, you as the industry leaders have forced this happening of decreasing the amount of money that's being spent by the consumer because they're utilizing technology in a better fashion. If those CapEx spending throughout these large corporations have they've shrunk them, we haven't seen a lot of money jump back into those CapEx spending, but we're seeing all this vast technology out there. Do we need to spend more money in technology to inevitably create better economics?
No, is my opinion.
Okay.
Because I think that there's a lot of old technology and existing technology that's going to generate a lot of value for a lot of these businesses. It really just comes down to deployment. And again, I think that goes back to necessity. We're in an era now where people aren't hiring a lot more people, but yet they need to continue to eke out more efficiencies in their business to maintain a greater profitability to drive market share. So how do you do that? Well, you deploy technology, and right now wireless is that technology. So, meter reading, if we could use that as an example, that's small packets of data. I mean, Mike, back in the wireless data forum days, we were doing that 10 years ago. So this is not new technology. This is not something that needs a lot of R&D or a lot of spending. And at the end of the day, these can be deployed inside your enterprise, and you're going to see ROI very quickly. So this is not like it's going to save you money.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything that Rob said. I think the angle that I have on it is it's about integration. Where wireless was once the expense that people tried to control in an enterprise, now it's how can I use wireless to try and increase efficiency in the organization. So they may not be spending in terms of a CapEx, but they are certainly looking for, I've already spent the CapEx. If through integration efforts I can extend my Salesforce system, make my people more productive on the downtime or transit time, if I can make it more efficient than deploying another laptop for things like that, or doing customized development, then the integration is easily paid for and justified. So I definitely see that that's an area that we're getting more and more requests as to how can I tie it into other existing systems.
I don't want to spend any more money, but I need to become a little bit more efficient. I'm going to hold up the tablet and use this as a particular example, though, because the idea is that the more connected devices that come online, and you're probably going to be able to cite figures a little bit better than I can, but I think that we're pushing for 2016 at somewhere about the 15 billion mark or somewhere of that nature, inclusive of the M2M devices. So those small data packet transmissions, because they don't really take a lot, is going to increase the efficiency. Are we seeing a lot of that on the floor?
Absolutely. You know, we announced today in our morning keynote that we're actually at 104% penetration. So
that's a huge milestone here in North America.
That's a huge milestone. It's the first time we've crossed the 100% mark. So that's a big deal. And you're right. What's driving that is, of course, people have multiple devices. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that, because now you can generally you can tether 5 devices off of one primary device. So that will continue to grow. But what's really growing that is the modules, is baking in these modules into everything from alarm clocks to coffee makers. Quite frankly, there's just a lot of efficiencies you can do it, and that's enterprise deployments and consumer electronics.
And globally, obviously, I'm going to come back to the tablet again, Bob. I know that you can speak to this, and getting back to the healthcare arena. Globally, that's got to be so much better for societies or geopockets that are a little bit more distressed. That that infrastructure is easier to put in. It's faster, and we're going to get more efficient workforce in areas that we didn't see before.
It's areas everywhere except North America in some regards for wireless health and health today. This is helping with efficiencies, not only around like the stuff that like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is doing with in Africa with some of the programs that are put in play, but the National Health Institute and stuff, they're doing stuff that's in the States that are making people healthier. You know what I mean? Getting engaged with inner city type activities where people don't have high healthcare exposure, and they need applications that make it easier to monitor their health, to make them healthier people overall. And then when you take that out of the United States, it even becomes more important, because you have remote clinics in Africa that people are 100 miles, 200 miles away from a major city that have a health clinic or something like that, and these applications give them a healthier lifestyle, make them healthier people. And I think that's what wireless enables in the healthcare arena. Is it enables people to gain healthcare that didn't have that kind of healthcare before. It gives them access to doctors that they didn't have that access to the doctor before either.
We actually have had another deployment that came up, and it was in the U.S. healthcare system, and it had to do with hospitals for the aging. And there was one particular hospital that had a lot of Korean people in it, and the number of people who had the last name of Kim was actually a problem, because the nurses would get confused, right? They'd look at the person's name, oh, this is Mr. Kim, and the wrong medicine could get delivered. So we saw...
That's going to be problematic.
Yeah, and what happened on it was they said, well, look, if we gave everybody scanners, like high-end scanners to do it, it was just cost prohibitive within the budgets that were there. So what they did is they said, well, if we subsidize people's data plan, they can use their cell phones to now do the scanning of it. So it took it down $1,700 per deployment in order to eliminate... Yeah, this is a big number. For people to be able to use their cell phones to scan the person's barcode that's on their wrist to make sure it's the right Mr. Kim in this case.
Those are some good numbers. Rob, what are some of the challenges that CTIA as a body has seen over the last year that's going to really help propel, let's say, the next 24 months?
The trade shows and what we really try to do, it's really about community, it's about ecosystem, and it's about evangelizing, wireless into the enterprise for this particular event. And we're seeing hurdles in healthcare. FDA is beginning to cause some problems. We have issues around HIPAA. So at our core, we're an advocacy body. We're there to push wireless forward, work with Congress, work with the executive branch, work with the FCC, and continue to move this industry forward. So that's a constant battle, and that's quite honestly, what we're paid to do.
The CTIA has always been a great force within the industry, for sure. I know, Mike, that you've been involved with CTIA for a very long time. Bob, you as well. You've all very big veterans for this particular organization. where do you think that some of those challenges are going to lie? Let's say in the next 24 months. There it goes. Is that going to be a problem? Keep it going. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up here.
We're getting intimate.
We're getting intimate. Let's get the candle lights out. Where are these challenges going to fit for us with all this info, with all these new companies coming online in the next 24 months?
I mean, I'll go first. I think that some of the challenges lie in trying to still find common areas of interest, right? I mean, when you start getting companies that are diversifying in it, you end up with interest where you might get into more competitive differentiation as opposed to common areas. So you can find things where, like regulatory affairs and things like that, you might have a common point of view, but where people are going to monetize, where they're not, one standard versus another standard, where, you know, memberships across multiple organizations, those kinds of things tend to cause, I'd say, pressure. And it's an evolution that needs to be there in order to maintain the cohesiveness as you get more and more diversity, more pervasiveness of deployment, and more of these enterprise applications brought in.
Rob?
You know, I think there's always going to be hiccups and speed bumps and obstacles in your way, but I'm really feeling very bullish right now in terms of what's happening in this industry. You know, we've been talking a lot about the enterprise and enterprise deployments, but, you know, Mike's point about mobile marketing really heating up and what's happening inside the advertising platform, we're really seeing this convergence of social media, mobile marketing, and mobile commerce, and all this sort of coming together in this mobile social commerce space that is going to be huge. I mean, it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's coming like a freight train.
Consumers finally driving the boat there when it comes to enterprise.
It's going to happen. I think we're going to start seeing the NFC chips in the devices that are going to help drive a lot of that. And then, by the way, it's going to drive a lot more innovation too, and it's going to go into another key vertical for us, which is transportation. So yeah, I mean, my phone should be the keys to my car and my house.
Vehicle technology is mandated by the highway transport.
So again, I'm really bullish. I feel like you know, we've been knocking down the barricades for the last couple of years, and we're finally ready to go full speed ahead.
Bob,
I think to sum up the wireless health aspect of this, we have a huge aging baby boomer population. If we don't want to get sunk in costs, we have to become more efficient. Mobile devices and wireless health devices within mobile help us get that efficiency and reduce those costs. That's the only way to the future of giving quality healthcare to that generation of people and future generations past them. And it can be done through technology, and technology is a wonderful thing in reducing those costs, and I think that's the key for at least wireless health and mHealth going forward.
Wireless is the answer.
Wireless is the answer.
Pretty bullish on mobile.
Pretty bullish on mobile. We're going to wrap up the candlelight dinner here. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking the opportunity to speak with us here at the wonderful show. Rob, congratulations again on another fantastic CTIA. Well done. Excellent. I am Tony Sklar here at the CTIA Enterprise and Applications Conference in San Diego for bnetTV.